Welcome to episode 65 of the Club Lorcana podcast. I'm your host, Syed, and with me always is my friend, Jeremy.
Hi, everybody. It's me, Max Jeremy Betterioni on Twitter. And we are also joined by two friends of the podcast. You might recognize these two. This is Nathan Tripp and Ryan Walker. Guys, say hi to everybody. Really good to have you on.
I'm Ryan.
Always happy to be here.
Natural. He's a natural. That's amazing. We're just back. I had to frantically run from the airport to an Uber and Ubered over an hour to get to this very studio from DLC Milwaukee.
Yes, we have a lot to talk about.
Let's get the podcast started. We always like to start with the metagame. In this case, we have a really awesome snapshot of the metagame that's fresh, the DLC metagame. So let's talk about it. What was number one?
Most played deck.
Most played deck.
Blurple.
Always Blurple.
Roughly what percentage of the field was Blurple? And then we'll go down the list.
30%.
30% of the DLC day one competitors played Blurple. Incredible. And then what was number two?
Purple Steel.
Purple Steel with 25%.
25%. Wow, that's
Big
an
jump.
insane number. I mean, that's still a really high number.
It jumped 11%.
That's crazy. 11% increase is wild.
Massive.
How do we explain that? I mean, Zan, you're a thought-provoking professional Lorcana player. Let's get some analysis.
I mean, I hit number one on Lorcanito. That's a part of it. But besides that, I mean, the deck was just performing well, right? People are not blind. It should have won the finals in Bologna. It didn't. So once it proves itself to beat Blurple at least 50% of the time, that means you have a good matchup against everything else. So becomes a good choice.
Purple Steel also, played to the end of the finals by the winner of the event, Frank Karsten, now a two-time DLC winner. Congratulations,
Yeah.
Frank,
Yeah,
or
congrats.
secret
Huge
new enemy
congrats.
unlocked?
No, congrats to Frank. I mean, incredible player. I really felt like the finals displayed his ability to play a deck better than 99.9% of players. It's incredible. He had some really interesting cards like Timothy Chalamet and Scar. I mean, those cards were phenomenal. He really is good at turning the clock, and Timothy Chalamet is like a piglet, and I really think that's a unique thing that he adds to his decks.
One thing I don't understand about the deck, and then you can go.
Go.
Sorry about it. If it's so good, why only one? He had a ton of one-ofs, and it's not something I can understand.
I mean, I think people have different theories, but in this game we don't have sideboards, and I think that incorporating a sideboard into your main deck unlocks potential, especially if he was planning on just drawing those cards in the best of 5, because you're gonna have more games, so you're more likely to see those one-offs.
All right, and then what did you have?
Yeah, basically going down the line of all these one-ofs, right? The Scars, the Timothy,
Well, obviously we can't name a third one, but there were
Tinkerbell.
plenty.
Yeah, and they were on display. I think it was game 4. I think he started Happy into Timothy into Tinkerbell, and it was the most unique opening. I mean, I played a ton of Purple Steel Mirrors, right? Like they go very standard, and that one was super unique. The difference, it's not a piglet because it has a 4 willpower. It makes all the difference, right? It can move with bell damage. It can stand up to more challenges. It's crazy.
But it's also one less lore.
It is one less lore.
Yeah.
So you're paying one lore basically to get 2 willpower.
Mm-hmm.
So Purple Steel,
And one
the
less power.
bell of the ball for the DLC, despite having no bells and no balls. Let's talk about, in this lame deck format, what's the next best deck to play?
The next best deck or the next played deck?
The next best performance was probably Amber Emerald. The next most played was Amber Steel.
Yeah,
Let's talk about the next most played.
Yeah.
Amber Steel.
Amber Steel came in at 15.3%.
Now, viewers of this podcast might remember that we did sort of like a little prediction game when it came to this with this meta. We twice decided how we thought the percentages would go. Do you want to get into that now, or do we want to maybe even brush over the whole thing with a quick overview of how good I did?
We're first gonna finish off the rest of the chart. So
Right.
Emerald Sapphire was 10% of the field. Then we had Amber Emerald, which is dogs, at 6%. Then we had Sapphire Steel at 4%, which was the biggest surprise.
R&B was bringing it back. He was talking about it on my space. He told me, I'm going to play Sapphire Steel at the DLC.
Wild.
And I sat across from him, and he kept winking at me, and I'm like, "Stop winking at me! I'm trying to play this game." And he won his game, and it was really good.
He's a winker.
Emerald Steel at 3%. It did increase, but not as much as we thought. And then Amethyst Ruby came out of nowhere at 2%.
Mhm.
So that is the total percentage breakdown. And so now we can move on to like our game that we did and how we did as a whole predicting the meta.
Yeah, so like overall, I think that really the best way to compare is this side of the table versus that side of the table.
Yeah.
Statistically selective, I would say.
Why is that the best way to compare?
We got a camera angle here and we got a camera angle there.
Oh, famous thing that
Hey.
statisticians do. They look to the cameras to determine how to group people.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we don't need the cards just yet, but we will bring them back. All right, cool. So Nathan, start us off.
We've got Ryan coming in with 9 incorrect.
Ha!
Jeremy coming in with 8 incorrect.
Can we just go on the positive notes? What were the things that they got correct and what were the things that they got incorrect?
Okay, so the things that again, we did it both weeks. Jeremy was correct on Blurple. Across the board, we were all correct on Blurple except for you in week 1, and then you came back week 2.
Wait a minute. How did I even get 8 incorrect? There's not that many decks. What are you talking about?
Okay, so we did 2 weeks of this.
Okay, so you totaled our incorrect for the 2 weeks. Get real. Just count week 2. What are you doing?
Talk about where we landed. It's the easiest thing for the.
Okay, so where we landed, Jeremy, you landed on 2 correct. You were correct on Purple and Purple Steel. You were incorrect on Amber Steel and Blue Green and Dogs and Green Steel.
What happened with those? Did they all go down?
Okay, so we saw. Oh, we're getting into the specifics. Okay, so we saw. As I
Wouldn't
look
you
at this,
want
really.
to?
He said he didn't want to get into the specifics because this is really complicated. Okay, so we saw that Blurple went down by 6%, which we all thought it was going down. On the over-under, you guys were correct in that it was over 5%. We thought that it wasn't going to go down by 5%. If the biggest thing, we were all correct across the board, was Purple Steel. Purple Steel across the board, we all thought it was going up, and we all thought it was going to be more than 5%. It went up by 10% overall in the tournament.
So we're right about the major stuff.
The 50% of the meta, like we kind of called it, I feel like the things that we weren't expecting was kind of already mentioned, was red, purple, and blue steel. That wasn't on our matrix at all. We weren't expecting those decks to have higher representation.
I will say a flaw in that is that if those went up to like 4% or 2% or 3%, we still wouldn't make an adjustment. So they weren't. We have to make like a threshold of like, oh, even if these surprise decks come about, if they're not a certain threshold, then we it doesn't matter if they went up
In
or
the
down.
accounting world, we would call them immaterial.
Yeah, they're like they're outside the matrix.
I lost to red, purple, so not that immaterial.
Yeah, it materialized in your record, but in the grand scheme of things, it was irrelevant.
It happened to me.
Sorry.
Why
So-
is that irrelevant?
we were right across the board with green, yellow, but incorrect in that we all thought it was going to go up more than it did. It just had a minor shift of 1% from like a 5 to 6%.
And there's probably a story there too. And we kind of theorized on this over the weekend. We thought people tried to play Amber Emerald, switched to it, played 15 games on Lorcanito, lost 12 of them, and decided that they couldn't play that deck.
I myself was one of those people. I tested dogs all week and decided on basically Friday, I was like, Yan's going to be disappointed in me. I think it's even the correct choice. I just can't figure it out in time for the tournament tomorrow. So I had to make the call to switch.
I did the exact same thing the night before, and neither of us were staying with Zan. So there was no way that he could. I was like, I'm gonna be switching, not
There's
playing
no way I could
dogs.
have talked you into the right thing.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll
Well, I
get
mean,
into
what-
the. I felt like it was a good choice, but we'll get into the
Mhm.
highlights of our runs in a little bit, and then I guess the only other one that we haven't talked about is Amber Steel. Amber Steel went down by 4%. I think I was the only one that was wrong on the over under for 5. I thought it was going to be over 5% going down because I thought
Which color is
I
this
said
one?
Amber Emerald.
Amber Steel.
Amber Steel.
Okay.
I thought Amber Steel was going to go down a lot more and Amber Emerald was going to go up, but I was incorrect. So
But it was very close.
it was very, very close. It did go down by 4%. And
Yeah. Whenever you do these things, you're like, if it's within a percent, it's supposed to be okay. And if it was like a 20% deck and went down to 4% instead of 5%, it's supposed to be within within the margin of error.
So what I'm getting is we were right on the big picture stuff. Purple Steel up, Purple down. Things on the fringes, maybe we were rocky here or there, but for the most part, we did a little bit worse than you guys. But our analysis of the metagame was pretty spot on.
yeah, I felt like we had like an accurate pulse overall.
Yeah, I agree that we had an accurate pulse. I think that our interpretation of how to interpret the meta was a little off, and it took me a whole day of like basically not talking to anybody to figure it out. And it was like I was traveling on Thursday, a day before you guys left to Milwaukee, and on that travel I was like, I'm alone, let me think. And I thought a lot about it, and I was like, the major thing that we're missing is about Blurple, right? We're all thinking that it's gonna like if it goes up or if it goes down, it's gonna be within 5%. But the thing that we're not thinking is that 5% up or down keeps it in the threshold of the most deck ever played in NA.
Yep, that's true.
And so your reaction to it doesn't change unless you think it's going to be 10%. And someone it's kind of like that snake game that like eats all of all of the guts after when a snake dies, right? And becomes bigger.
Worm.io.
Exactly, that game. And so if Blurple was going to have that moment, like that would be that wouldn't be of concern because it's being absorbed, not it's like not exactly the same case. So once I had that realization, I was like, oh, Blurple is the target. That's the only target that matters. So on Friday, most of my testing involved me playing against Blurple, which was very painful. It's really painful because all my teammates are good players and they just beat me up. And they're like, this guy, he sucks. And yeah, that made me feel bad.
Oh, sorry, man.
And my draws were bad. But I was still committed to playing Purple Steel. So yeah, that was my story. So I just think that the way that we're interpreting the results is wrong. And then Purple Steel, we all thought that it was going to be the next closest thing to Blurple, and if you think about its percent, it was not that far away from being the second most deck. It was
Pretty
only
close.
3%
Yeah.
off, and so we also knew that these two decks were really good at farming the rest of the meta. So we knew if you make it 3, 4, 5 rounds deep while staying alive, the more likely you were to play against them, and the more like the more you were rewarded for having a deck that beat one of them or both of them.
Mhm.
And so I really think that the reason why Blurple had a high conversion rate, which we're going to find out later, was because it farmed Purple Steel. And then the reason why Dogs had such a great showing in terms of conversion rate was because it farmed Blurple. So you wanted to find a deck that had a Kryptonite package against those two top decks. And if you didn't have a Kryptonite package against those two decks, then you made the wrong decision.
Incredible. So let's transition, I guess, into talking about our tournaments, what we played, why we played them, how the tournaments went for us.
Yeah, go ahead.
Before we do that, I have a fun story about the game Wormax.io. I used to play it when I was a substitute teacher. It's a game that everyone can get on a server. So what we would do is I had one class of like architecture students where they all had laptops. So for the top like 30 minutes of class, we would do work that I assign and stuff, and then everybody would finish, and everybody would hop on Wormax.io, and all the kids would try to kill me in that game. And so they 20v1'd me, and I never died.
Really?
Yeah, I was so good at Wormax at that point because while I was a substitute, what I would do is I would hand out the worksheets and I would just get on the teacher's computer or whatever. Obviously, every game is blocked at the school website except for Wormax.io. You know that I used to love that game. So I would just play Wormax. Eventually, the kids would be like, what are you doing? I'd be like, go to Wormax.io, get in this server and try to kill me. And they'd be like, you're a big worm. And I'd be like, you're never going to kill me. Anyway.
What you know what I imagine? I imagine that you're like playing dodgeball with a bunch of little kids.
Basically his version of dodgeball.
It was my version of dodgeball with a bunch of little kids, but it was a video game. And sometimes they would all like gather around one kid's screen because he got really big, and he'd be like, I'm coming for the teacher. And it was just like I would be like, watch this cool trick, and I would like cut him off really fast and kill him. He'd explode, and everybody would be like, no.
What would they call you, Mr. B?
Mr. Bear.
Mr. Bear.
First syllable of my last name, Bear Terrioni. I'd be Mr. Bear. I don't really talk about that portion of my life very much, but yeah, when I was a substitute teacher, I was Mr. Bear, and the kids liked me a lot.
Yeah, we've been best friends for a while, and I never knew that. Now I know something new.
Yeah, I like to think I was like a pretty fair and fun substitute teacher, with the general rules of like, please don't make me use any sort of authority, and if you do, I'm like upset, like genuinely. Like we were all on the same team. The thing that high schoolers don't understand is that substitute teachers are on the same team as you. We want to do as little as possible. You also want to do as little as possible. We can figure it out. We can be a team, or we can be enemies. Let's be a team. You know what I mean? That was like how it always was. So in the week leading up to the DLC, I landed on the appropriate and correct choice for the metagame is Churnadogs. Here's why. You promised to me there's a strategy called zombie dogs. I mean, I think you're going to talk about it. You said that if you use zombie dogs, you can beat Purple Steel. And I think that was probably true. And I would use zombie dogs and be like a turn short of beating Purple Steel. I'm sure you know like what my ceiling was. And you've probably hit that ceiling and broke through it. But I couldn't do it. And I'm playing on Friday, and I'm having a nervous breakdown because I beat Blurple every time. I beat the aggro decks about 50-50 of the time. But against Purple Steel, zombie dogs, I never win. And I'm thinking to myself, I can't play this deck. And I like have a breakdown, and I basically go, what matters? I don't want to die to randoms playing Amber aggro. I think if I can play Blurple mirrors all the time, that'd be good, but I lose to Amber aggro. If I play blue-green, I know I can beat Blurple with blue-green. I'm good at it. Like Jeremy, the player, is good at beating Blurple with blue-green. Yeah. You taught me how. Fair enough. So I message Ryan. This is Friday. My flight on Friday is at 10 p.m. So I have all of Friday to test because I got the day off. Very lucky. Mm-hmm. I message Ryan. I'm like, hey, you got blue green? He's like, yep, I got it in my box. I was like, all right, leave it out for me and I'll figure it out. And so I decided to play blue green. It was kind of a last minute panic audible. Not the best strategy. I admit that fully. But I think what was important there was I knew I couldn't pull the trigger on dogs because even though I thought it was the correct choice, I just like wasn't good enough. So there's a moment where you became kind of like Gordon Ramsay in the Nightmare Kitchen going like, all you have to do is pan-sear the salmon perfectly every time and give it to the guest. How hard is it? And I'm just like, I can't do it. I'm not as good as you. Right? Like I can't cook that. You can cook that every time and I cannot. When I try to cook it, it's burned and the guest goes, ew.
Yeah. So, okay, I'm going to say a couple of things. The number one thing is, dude, it's okay that you couldn't do it. Number two is your goal is actually not to beat Purple Steel. It's to be 50-50 against Purple Steel, right? Because if everything goes right, you will beat it. If everything doesn't go right, you're going to have a chance to beat it. That's all you're trying to do. And the plan that I see everybody else do is basically 0%.
Never is going to work.
It's never going to work.
Well, do we want to take the time right now? I'm sure the guests are wondering. I know we were about to start a whole thing where we all did our tournament. What is zombie dogs? How do you beat Purple Steel with Churnadogs?
It's a couple of different steps, right? Number one is you should have 4 tramps in your deck. The tramp that I'm talking about is the 6-cost shift tramp. Okay. Because what you're trying to do is you're trying to create a situation where when your opponent deals with one of your threats, that they're punished for it. And the other way is with Chromacon. Now, if you set up both, what's happening is they take out a dog, you bounce one of their guys, and you draw a card. And you just never exert the 6-cost tramp. until it's time to take out a Calhoun using a 2-drop tramp,
Mhm.
right? Plus that card. And then by the time they take out the tramp, you're just replacing it, and you've gained all the tempo, and now you're winning the game.
All right.
So now the other card, which is more difficult to play, but is also included in this, is 5-cost Lady.
Yeah.
So imagine that you have a Daisy Duck, and you quest with that Daisy Duck, and your opponent has like a Captain Hook,
Sure.
and they swing the Captain Hook into your Daisy Duck, and then play a Calhoun, right? You then uh this wasn't a good example, because let's say it was a Rafiki,
Sure.
right? And you're gonna swing back at that Rafiki. You take it out. They then use the Calhoun to take out your Daisy Duck.
Boo.
What you're going to do now is you're going to try and shift a Lady to take out the Calhoun, and you're trying to set up the. It doesn't happen exactly the same way, the same time, at the same
Every
way.
time. Sure.
But what the point is that they need to deal with your threats. They think that they're slowing you down, but the end of the chain always involves you shifting a Lady and bringing back the two characters that they took out and taking out the most important threat in the game. Because at Emerald Chromacon,
Yeah, more often than not, the Chromacon, when your thing dies, you bounce your lady.
yeah, that is a part of it. But the main thing is a Calhoun is one of the only cards that can counters a Emerald Chromacon, because uh it's playing defense while it's playing
Offense
offense while
while-
playing defense. And so basically when you see dogs players play, they just freeze. They're like, I'm gonna try to under the see them, and you're like, well, you just didn't get rid of the most important card, Calhoun, and you
Mhm.
can't bounce it enough to beat the rate of that card. So, for example, I played against Reese in this tournament. I won round one again, game one against him, but games 2 and 3 he had too many Calhouns. In game 2, he literally went Calhoun on turn 2, Calhoun on turn 3 plus fire the cannons. On turn 4, he went Calhoun, Calhoun,
Yep.
and that's all 4 of them. And even though I was able to take out 2, that countered 2 Emerald Chromacons. Actually, I was like, oh, I wonder if 2 Chromacons work. I've never tested this before, but let me just try. And I got to 18 um through 4 what's his Calhouns.
Yeah. I mean, I saw it.
Yeah, so that was like a very interesting situation. But like I'm saying, like you can beat majority of their draws by using this strategy, not the ones where it's like their top 5% draw. You know what I mean?
And that is called Zombie Dog. So, that being said, let's talk about my tournament. I played Green Blue.
Mhm.
I ended up going 3-3. Here's the story. Round 1, I played against an Amber Steel opponent. She was delightful, and my game went exactly according to plan. John Silver, Under the Sea. I didn't want to lose the aggro going into the day, and I didn't, and that made me feel good. Round 2, I played the Green Blue Mirror, and I won. I got pretty lucky, and obviously the Green Blue Mirror, you get a little bit lucky. There were just times where I was like, all right, if he shifts Clarabelle, that's fine. If he shifts Clarabelle and your welcomes me, I'm out. And he would just shift Clarabelle and say go. And I was like, that's what I needed. Then I would shift my Clarabelle and you're welcome him. And that was basically how both games went.
Mhm.
Round 3, I played against Purple Steel and I lost. Hate to say it, but I lost. I won a game 1 that was pretty good. I feel like more fine than most people into Purple Steel, Green Blue, but whatever. I lost this match. And then the next match, I played against Purple Red, and I lost, and I got brutally top decked. And I just said to myself, okay, this is like, the whatever, maybe not the tournament I was supposed to win or whatever. Let's see what happens. I play again against Blurple now. I'm in the X and 1 bracket, and it's a fellow Lorcana Lounge member. It's Christy. We have quite a battle, but I'm happy playing a prolonged game against Blurple with Green Blue. You draw a ton of extra cards. It's a lot of fun. I ended up winning the match. I think she made a pretty critical mistake in game 3. She could have killed a Tipo, but she opted to quest instead to try to race me. And then later on, that Tipo helped sing a song that caused her to lose. And she was like, I should have killed that Tipo. So that was sort of, I would say, the like strategic error that allowed me to win. That was pretty cool. Then I lost again to Purple Steel. And then I was out. I was 3-3, and I said, or no, I didn't. I lost to Purple Pansy on Emerald Steel aggro.
Yeah.
And he said, I actually teched for just green blue, and I know I'm not gonna win the tournament, but I just wanted to beat green blue, is what he said to me. And I was like, cool.
Dang.
I'm gonna go now. And I and then I got up and left because that was a crazy thing to say to me after he just beat me. But no, shout out, much love to
I
Purple
know
Pansy.
I'm not gonna win the tournament.
He was like, I know I'm not going to win the tournament. I just tech to beat green blue. I'm like playing smashes for all your Clarabelles, and like my deck is pretty much incapable of beating anything but green blue. But
why so much disdain for green blue?
well, anyway, he chose not to lose to green blue the way I chose not to lose aggro, and he defeated me. And then I went to get my Mulan because I did get 3 wins. I said to myself, that's fine. Can support my friends. I was feeling kind of down in the dumps, and a guy said to me, he was like, hey, I'm a huge fan of your podcast, and I always really appreciate that. Oh, thanks so much, man. He was like, you look kind of down. You want me to buy you like a beer or something? And we went across the street to a bar, and I had a great night.
Yay.
That's my tournament.
Sounds pretty good.
It actually was pretty horrible, but
Nice.
it ended well.
Yeah.
I think you guys caught up with me around when I was done with that, and I was having a great time. The one takeaway, a couple takeaways, right? Don't panic and switch decks to the least optimal choice. It doesn't really make sense to switch decks because I can't beat Purple Steel, and then I play Green Blue, which like also isn't good against Purple Steel. I think if I could do it again, I would have panic switched to Blurple because I'm worried about Purple Steel. So switch to Blurple. Blurple's supposed to have a good matchup against Purple. I feel good in the Purple Steel with Blurple a lot of the time.
Yeah, so when I ran into you in the morning, you surprise attacked me. You're like, I'm playing blue green. And I was like, but the first thing I said to you is like, if you're gonna audible to Blurple.
Yeah.
And you go, I didn't bring the cards. And I'm like, so you like pre-made the choice that I would try to persuade you at least to play Blurple, and then
I had the cards
Made
too.
it
I didn't just
impossible.
lie to you.
I know that's crazy.
I know you know. I was like, I don't have Blurple. You're like, really? The deck that you've had every single day since set 9?
No, I didn't know that you didn't have it. I just thought that you like pre-called me for
Oh, I like cut off the option. No, I just lied to you there. I was like, I don't even have Blurple. I should
yeah.
have played Blurple. It's fine.
Yeah, I just don't understand why after every tournament you guys are like, yeah, Zan had some pretty good points, but we can't talk to him right before our tournament. And
So here's the rationale. I'm
Yeah.
freaking out on Friday, but I don't want to mess up your whole deal. You got your Zen going on. You're thinking
But
it's
I-
my turn to, swim
but
or
I've
sink.
never ever been closed off to not answer anybody's phone call.
I understand.
yeah.
I was just giving you your space, and I wanted to figure it out.
Don't give me my space. Just
Okay.
give me a call. Don't sabotage your own tournament.
So one takeaway: don't
I-
panic switch that in a way that doesn't make sense. I also had some pretty terrible travel plans. I ended
Yeah.
up getting to Chicago at like midnight, and I got to their Airbnb in Milwaukee at like 2:30. So not a lot of sleep the night before. Maybe it hurt me. Maybe it helped me. Definitely hurt me. So that's not good. I think in the future I gotta that was like the cheapest option because I got to ride with the Ashiks all the way down, and they were great. Got to ride with them, from Chicago to Wisconsin, which saved a ton of money on airfare. They had family in town, which is why their flight was so late. But I should have just figured it out a different way.
Yeah.
I had a couple other options. I just wanted to save money.
I think that you're well prepared enough to take that option
Sure.
and be okay. I just think that the deck choice switch, you didn't put enough stops there.
Yeah.
You just think I'm like a great resource, I think.
I didn't want to bother you.
Yeah,
I feel like I use you as a resource a lot, and I was just like, I want to just,
Because if your thing is like, hey, I don't want to play dogs, I just can't do it. My response would have been Blurple.
Okay.
It was never blue green.
I think Blurple would have been the choice. But anyway, that wraps up Jeremy's tournament.
Yeah.
Let's move on to ATL. Ryan walked. Ryan, how'd your event go? What'd you play? Why'd you play it?
So I was on blue green in Bologna, and that would have been my choice for quite a while leading up to Milwaukee. What switched me to eventually play purple steel was the addition of the Amethyst Chromacron. So played the Amethyst Chromacron probably like 10 days leading into Milwaukee. Won a set champ with it. Played a lot of games in Fight Club and got really comfortable beating almost everything in the field. It's similar to the Amber Emerald Purple Steel discussion. I was never gonna make Purple Steel beat Blurple every time or anything crazy like that. But it got to a point where it's closer to a 50-50. I have lines to win that matchup. So really happy with the deck choice. I ended up going 4-3, so dying in round 7.
But you were 4-1.
I was 4-1 at one point in the tournament. So I went 50-50 against Blurple. So I lost a Blurple once, beat Blurple once, beat an Amber Steel, and then I went 50-50 on 4 mirror matches. So beat 2 Amethyst Steels and lost the 2 Amethyst Steels. Tough matchup, that mirror. It's really swingy depending on your strengths. Going 1, 2, 3, forcing your strength is pretty hard to flip. Ran into some purple steels that were a lot better teched out for a purple steel mirror than I was. They had some of the evasive on your turns that aren't common in necessarily every deck, like your Happies and your Jafars. Some were running Pete's, which I wasn't willing to run because I think adding the Pete loses equity in some other matchups. And it never was good enough in my testing to include it in the deck.
Yeah.
That might be the Chromacon hurting you, though, right? The Chromacon giveth against Blurple, but I feel like it taketh away against the mirror.
Well, it's inkable, so it didn't really cost you that much.
Exactly.
And the biggest strength of Purple Steel is that it is so good against everything except for the most played deck.
Yeah.
So and it's not like we took the full 4 slots, we only took 3. So this was the deck I hit number 1 on ladder with, and I think I played Blurple 7 times on my way to hit number 1 on Fight Club. So and so I shared that with Ryan. Ryan took it to his own set champs. I then the next day took it to CCS set champs, and I also won with it.
Great.
And so this is the deck that I was also locked in on.
Mhm.
So I liked your choice.
I think it was good. I mean, we saw it in the final with Frank, right? It's the same strategy. You're going to go wide and get to a point where Blurple runs out of answers. When their
Mhm.
answers start to become 8-drop Elsa or 7-drop Hades, they're too far behind. Because I'm tapping my Chromacron or 2 Chromacrons and laying down 4 or 5 threats every turn, and you're way too far behind.
Yeah, the thing that I couldn't get out of my head was me and you, like all 4 of us, after episode 53, went to go get wings, right?
Yeah. 63, but yeah.
I mean
Yeah,
63.
yeah.
Went to go get wings,
Mhm.
and me and you played the Purple Steel mirror,
Mhm.
and you beat the crap out of me. And I like thought about it a lot. I was like, did I do something wrong? And I was like, oh, I didn't.
No.
The mirror match is just that.
We call the steel mirrors the rat race. We've done that for quite a while now, whether that's purple steel mirrors or amber steel versus purple steel. You're in the rat race of who gets to sing their. I mean, we've lost a lot of our removal, but now the removal is a couple cards, and so you're in that rat race.
Of course, but yeah, so what it made me realize was like Bologna was a prime hunting ground for Purple Steel because there wasn't
Mhm.
that much Purple Steel.
Mhm.
But it became bad in this tournament because Purple Steel became everywhere, and the mirror match was not something you actually wanted to do because you couldn't leverage your skill. But Blurple, if you can leverage your skill for the mirror match at least a little bit. So it was very interesting. Anything
Yeah.
else you want to say?
No, overall happy with the tournament. I thought I played really, really well. It's not one of those tournaments where it's like, man, I misplayed 1,000 times. I thought I played, 90 to 95%. It's just you lose some of those mirrors.
Mm-hmm.
Go next.
So for my tournament, I was very similar to Jeremy. I had been on dogs, played dogs in Bologna. Feel very comfortable on dogs, but it was with the rise of Purple Steel, and I'm just really feeling that it's like I did not feel like I could make it to a 50-50. The night before, I actually brought dogs. I only brought one deck. I brought dogs. I was going to play dogs, and then I was like, I think I'll play Blurple. So who did I look towards? Look towards Ryan, because Ryan always has every deck.
If I'm at a Lorcana tournament of this size, I have every single deck that I believe is viable in the format with me.
And that's a great strat. I also do the same thing. Ryan just does it on like a much more efficient and spectacularly organized fashion.
It's kind of an odd, crazy thing that I do. And people in the house that aren't normally around us saw that, and I showed them my strategy of here are all the decks, and behind them are every card that I believe is worth consideration in that deck by any means.
It was a sweet setup.
I love that.
I bring all of the cards, but I'm like the opposite of you. They're all like in a in a single box, and I have to like go through all of them. They're not even in like their 4-ofs. It's a complete mess. So
This is every card you could play in Lorcana right now shuffled together. So
that might actually be the complete accurate description. So yeah, I felt that I was like, okay, I'm gonna play some Blurple. We'll play test some. I'll be like, do I even feel well, number one, I haven't like we play tested a little bit, but I really haven't played Blurple at all.
Yeah.
Like I played against it. I know all the play lines. So I was like, can I do this? So we play tested a little bit. I was like, this just feels like, yeah, I want to do it. So round one, I pair into the mirror. I was like, well, okay, this is not what I wanted to start with, because this is probably what I would consider my worst matchup in terms of skill equity. If I don't have the practice in, you're gonna really lose it. Like your functional mistakes in the mirror are gonna cost you the mirror.
If you're behind in your reps in the Blurple mirror, it might show.
Yeah. I 2-0'd, so felt good about that. I was like, all right, that felt good. I think there may have been some functional mistakes there that helped me. Then I go purple steel, get it. Purple steel felt good. It's like that's exactly why I brought the deck. And then I paired into dogs. I almost won game one. And I said, you gotta have the go on top, because he had no cards.
Yeah.
And he got the go on top, and I was like, okay. Then game two was like a classic Chromacon game. Couldn't really do anything. Then I pair into Blurple again, and I 2-0 the mirror, and I'm like, all right, we're doing it. So I guess at that point, what is that, 4-1?
Mm-hmm.
Then I pair into blue-green. Blue-green did not feel good at all. Both games, I did 1-drop, 2-drop, no 4-drop.
That's another one where the Blurple mirror could show some lack of reps, but the blue-green, the other blue mirror can show the same thing, right? When we showed up to CCS, blue-green against Blurple felt really easy because none of the Blurple players knew how to play against it. Well, now they've had reps into it, so that's probably what you were experiencing.
Yeah, like I knew like trying to put away some of your cards to try to like make their Clarabelles worse and stuff, but yeah, missing basically the whole point of my ramp to like get going, and then they were on like Mother Knows Best, 7-drop Basil, so they were like super bouncing, and so by the time I was sticking things, they would just bounce back to my hand over and over again. So I lose that, and then my final round, which I do lose, so I end up going 4-3, was against the Rat, which Jeremy talked to some.
What?
This is the first Blurple mirror where I was like, okay, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, the Rat's not messing around. Guess we trained him in some Blurple mirror action.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
So that was and we talked about it after game one, but like I think I kind of punted game one. I was ahead, and then he hard cast a second star,
Mm-hmm.
and I opt to like kind of play this like resource game of like, okay, I have a Hades down. I'm gonna bounce it with my Mim. And then he's just got a million cards, and then it became this where if I just kept turning sideways, just not even worrying about him, I was at 13 lore. I probably win that game. Then the second game wasn't even close.
Brian told me he definitely would have won that game. If he had just like played a bunch of guys and quested with Hades, he wins. But instead he like bounced back to Hades and had a very easy board to deal with. He tried to play the value game, but Brian just cast a second star, so your value game is over.
Yep.
Yep. There you go. That's what happened.
Yeah, so that's probably my only regret in the tournament, is probably that game. But it was good games overall. I felt like it was a good choice. I think I had a path. Like I was on the play. I could have won that game. If I win that game, we go to game 3. Maybe I have a shot. So I felt pretty good overall with the pick. I think that I could have gone all the way with the amount of purple steel. Like I felt good in that matchup. So
Cool. All right. I guess it's my turn, but before I'll give you some feedback on. So if you had talked to me,
yeah. So I did send a text, but nobody responded. But I sent it at like 12 o'clock or something.
Okay.
I was like, I'm playing Blurple.
No one can stop me.
Okay. So if you had called me, I would have said not for a DLC because you haven't practiced. So if you have to make a choice, just make a choice with a deck that you have been practicing, which I would say is either Amber Steel or Dogs.
Yeah, I've
Right.
been on the aggressive for this entire
If
set.
you like, it's just like every person is at a different stage of their TCG career, and there is not everybody is at like the point at which they can pick up a deck and just top a DLC.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So even though I think you're a fabulous player, I wouldn't want to put you under that pressure,
Hmm.
right? And the chances that you get paired against, like if you do well, you're gonna probably make it into day two, but then crumble in day two because there'll be more rat type characters who are
Yeah,
gonna beat you up and punish
all
you.
the names.
Exactly. So I mean, yeah. So I would have just advocated for just pick a deck, a different deck that you know. So and there's a certain point at which that like you've played every archetype and it's just better to be switching decks. So like for example, if I think dogs is good, I wouldn't have recommended it to Ryan because I felt like Ryan didn't have enough time to get enough reps.
Yep.
And so even if I have the correct deck choice, I would be jeopardizing his tournament by offering him something that is not possible to learn in 24 or 48 hours.
Yep.
Jeremy, on the other hand, had 2 weeks of knowing about dogs, or even a week. Jeremy has even more experience than I do about with TCGs, so I would put him in the category of he should be switching decks because if he gets the right deck, it slices through like butter, and he can learn through the tournament,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like sometimes you're surrounded by all card game players. You start asking them questions, and all of a sudden you get answers to all of the questions you had because in between rounds, what are you doing? Right? Like dogs can sometimes finish game, especially Jeremy. Can finish in 10 minutes and then have 50 minutes to go talk to people about like, I have no idea what I'm doing against purple steel. Can you teach me? You know? So yeah, so the only thing I would have said was like play Amber Steel if you don't want to play dogs.
Mhm.
Don't even if Blurple is a slightly better choice, it's too late.
Yeah, too late. Didn't put in the practice.
Brian's comments when he heard that he played when I asked him, I came up was like, so you played Nathan in the Blurple Mirror. He was like, he's got a lot to learn. So
Yeah.
just think about that.
All right, so my deck choice was very interesting. I was playing Purple Steel. Like I said earlier, I flew in on Thursday. I was testing with my Rare Hunter Shop team, and we were testing. I was getting beat up. They're just like physically beating me up. No, they were just beating me up in the card game, and that was Blurple. With Blurple, and I just felt like I'm playing against good players, and I'm drawing bad, and they're drawing good. And yeah, it wasn't going well, but I felt like I could draw better in the tournament and potentially beat the Blurples that I needed to beat in order to win this tournament. And yeah, so I submitted my deck list and I went to sleep, and then I just woke up in the middle of the night and
It's actually how he wakes up.
I woke up and it was like 1 a.m. and I was like, I need to submit dogs. The question in my mind when I went to sleep was like, how is the purple steel mirror? And then, I retraced back to my match against Ryan in the wing shop, and I was like, it's horrendous. It is horrendous. And we believe that it's going to go up. I should, rather than playing the mirror, I'll play purple steel with dogs and then beat all the blurples. And so yeah, that's how I came to the conclusion of dogs. Very difficult decision, but moving on, we go to round one. I get paired against Purple Steel, my worst matchup. I end up 2-0ing it. I felt like my opponent hadn't seen dogs be played that way, and just walked into a couple of mistakes, and I was just able to take advantage of it. And so that led to a 2-0. And then moving on to round two, I got paired against Reese, Kiyoshi, otherwise known as Kiyoshi, who's a wonderful, amazing European Lorcana player who I won the die roll against. Was also playing purple steel, so second round. Um, I won game one, and I was feeling pretty good, but I knew it was gonna be really hard. And he ended up, doing the 4 Calhoun thing. I got to 18. We go to game three, kind of the same situation. I get to 18. I just needed to draw. I could have drawn the same, like if my last 3 cards were the same cards but a different sequence of those cards, it would have been an easy win. But like I'll give you an example. I drew Gogo, but there's no cards with any damage because he has all the Calhouns. And so I just play Gogo and pass. And then next turn I draw Clarabelle, and then I play Clarabelle and draw a card, and it's another Clarabelle, but I only have 5 ink. So those cards, let's say I drew the Clarabelle into the Gogo, then I could have played both. And then next turn I could have played Clarabelle plus another guy, and then that gets me to 20 instead of 18. Pretty easily. It probably gets me even more than 20. And so uh like some of the bad luck in that match really stung, and I lost a good player, but at least I knew my tiebreakers were going to be good. So we move on to round 3. Kind of bummed I lost the purple steel, but I get paired against purple steel again.
Shoo.
And it's game 1. I end up losing the die roll, but I end up winning game 1. And then lost game 2, had a horrible draw. Game 3, nail biter. I'm at 19. I put a Ursula back in my hand, but I knew that my opponent had Elsa, so I just needed to draw another character to play double character and just win. But my 2 draws ended up being my second Emerald Chromacon and my third Emerald Chromacon. And I legit couldn't believe that I lost this match so close to winning. Because my opponent was at such a low lore total, was at 6, but was able to get to 20 exactly by hitting a white rose and a cobra that weren't previously there because I had Ursula them, and I bounced that Ursula back to hand, so I knew it wasn't there. And so even though I was going to win the next turn, they were able to go to exactly 20. And so that one felt like I lost to another lottery ticket moment. And this was the moment I, looked for Earl, who's the lead on my team, Rare Hunters. I went to Earl and I was like, I need the key to my hotel room, to our hotel room, because if I lose one more, I'm gonna just go home.
You're gonna fly home.
I'm gonna fly home. It's just I've traveled the whole world, and I've just been having a tough time. Like, even though I've been winning a lot, I've been losing at like the weirdest times. Like, Stockholm 6-0, number 1 seed for the CCQ, and then get paired against Green Steel, who's in 32nd seed, and lose in the first round. You know, it was just that, 5-2-1. My opponent won't concede, even though I have the win on the board, so I don't make day 2. Just like stuff like that just keeps happening and happening and happening. And that's like the nature of card games, so I get it. And so I'm like, if I lose one more, I just need to go home and, be with my cat and my wife. So that was the plan. And so so then I, talked to Ryan and Nathan and Jeremy, and all 3 of them are 3-0, and I'm like, they're like, oh, Ryan, what'd you say to me?
I just reminded you of, like, you've been in situations like that before. Like, you were feeling the weight of it, right? Because it's been 3 tournaments in a row with bad beats, kind of like this. And I just looked at you and said, "What are you talking about? You and Syed, you're gonna roll off like however many wins you need to get it to day 2. Don't worry about it.
All you gotta do is win 9 in a row, buddy."
Don't even 9 in a row is top cut. I'm just like, you're gonna get into day 2, rattle off 5, and you're in day 2, and just take it one at a time after that, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know what helps is when I'm like around, like when I like see other people doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how many DLCs we went to,
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question.
and how many people did we know that did that?
No, exactly.
It was me in Seattle.
Okay, wait, you're talking about yourself.
Yeah, because I didn't know anybody else,
And the best ones. Yeah.
and I have so many like friends that are killers. You guys are killers. Like there's so many who've been in that same spot but don't make it out. So I'm like 1-2 is there's only way. Well, it could the only way it could be worse if I was 0-3. No, I mean no that
You couldn't have been worse.
I
You were
couldn't
in
be
the
worse.
worst spot. Yeah.
I'm in the worst spot.
You could have been 0-3, but then you don't have to play anymore. So
Yeah,
you
you would've
actually
just-
earn a
yeah,
because
yeah.
0-3 is
Gone.
actually a pretty fine tournament.
No,
because
I
you go,
could have
"Well, I
started
was
off
wrong."
0-2.
You could have been 0-2. That's the only thing that would have been worse.
Yeah, but in that spot after playing 3 rounds, though, I was in the
Yeah.
absolute worst spot.
Mhm.
So yeah, so I just prepared my exit plan, and obviously everybody's like talking to me like, don't leave, blah blah blah. I'm like, I need to go get rest.
I said, if you need to go home, you got to go home. I mean, I'm not a big don't leave guy. If you got to go home, you got to go home. But obviously, play your next round. Try your best. to
Yeah, of
win.
course, of course. I wasn't gonna leave without losing. Someone has to take me out. So then I get paired again. I'm pretty bummed. I've never been sitting so like there was no one at the end. I was like at the end of the tournament hall,
Yeah, yeah.
and I was like, I've never been there.
You're at table 4003.
Yes. So I end up playing I end up playing Purple Steel again. And I 2-0 it. And even though I've won way more games than I've lost, my record is now 2-2. I end up winning against Amber Steel. I would end up winning against the Mirror Match Dogs. And then I get paired against Blurple. I win against Blurple. And then I get paired against Amber Steel again, and I win. And then I made it into day 2, and then and then we go on to day 2, and then I show up on day 2. I play against Blurple a second time, which I feel like I should have played against Blurple more, but I didn't. I then played against Blue Green, another really bad matchup. Then I played against Dogs again. So now Blurple and Dogs is tied for the amount of times I've played against them. Then I played against Blue Green. Now all of these decks are tied that are way lower representation of Blurple, especially on day 2. But I end up finishing 10-2.
10-2. You played what you thought was winning in the last round. We're all so excited. Your tiebreaker should be pretty good. Your only loss is to Reese and one other person. And Reese is X-1, top tables.
He drew in the last round and he's golden.
He's golden.
So I'm like, I'm over the moon. I'm over the moon. Rice Master, my teammate, also ends up winning his winning, and both of us are celebrating and are getting ready to find out, if we made it, what seed we're in, blah blah blah. We take pictures, and then we find out that both of us missed on our tiebreakers.
So just to clarify, there's 25 players that make it at your record. Or I'm sorry, 25 players at your record, and 4 of them end up not making it.
Yes.
It's you, Rice Master, and 2 other unlucky blokes.
Yeah. And that was pretty devastating because, I mean, I've just been getting bad beats. And this one was not about losing a match. It was about an uncontrollable situation that shouldn't be mathematically possible, but somehow became mathematically possible. And so, so I, would try to compose myself, and even though I was dying inside, I was like, let me let my friends take care of me because they know how it would feel. So
I said, let's go get something to eat.
Yeah. So we go get wings and just chill and hang out, and then I go back and get my prizes, sign people's cards, just try to finish off what I started.
I think let's talk about that a little more, right? I think because I think a listener there would be like, man, you bubbled out, quit your whining, right? It's more than that. And I'll say you were talking about it far before this happened to you, right? The week prior, I think you were one of the first ones to chime in when I think 6 people, is it 5 or 6 people in Bologna?
4. No, 5.
No, it was 5.
5 hit the 10-2 and also bubbled out.
Yep.
You chimed in and you said, I think those players should receive an invite.
I did.
Right. So shouldn't happen mathematically is something you said in that, right? So I want to explain a little bit of what's going on there, right? So in a like clean tournament that's going on with 2,048 people, there should be the same number of wins and losses occurring during the tournament, right?
Mhm.
And that result ends up being a certain amount of 12 O's, a certain amount of 11 ones, and a certain amount of 10 twos
Mhm.
get in at the top 32 cut. So what was happening during this tournament and in the Bologna tournament, without the players meeting, some players aren't getting dropped from the tournament. That happened a little differently in the 2 tournaments, but long story short, more buys are existing in these tournaments than there should be,
Mhm.
based on the tournament software or not getting some of these players paired up with an actual person to play. What happens is more wins are occurring than losses. So because more
Mm.
wins are occurring than losses, it's making the top of the standings heavier, right?
Yeah.
So there's more 11 O2s and 11 ones than there should be, and it's pushing the 10 twos down,
Mhm.
right? So you're creating this artificial 10-2 line that gets pushed out of the 32.
And it's still possible to have 10 twos that had buys.
Yeah.
As well, right? So that also affects it, right? Because those people have a tiebreaker that was beneficial for them. So a person who had a buy had a higher chance of making it as well.
Yeah, we ran some of the numbers like last night. We were hanging out with Alphos. He liked running a lot of the numbers, and it's like um, it ended up being. Let's just talk about like the cut today too, because he did some math there. I think it was 275 players make it today too. I think based on the math, I can't remember his exact numbers, but that's about 40 extra players that weren't supposed to statistically make it to day two. So these like extra wins that are injected into the system. I think that you said like at the very beginning, they said, hey, there's 2017 Lumineers that are playing.
Yep.
Well, it ends up being that there's actually only like 1934. And so though yes, we saw them doing some drops and stuff, but there's so many buys that have like injected into the system.
Yeah.
And there's 10 and 2 is supposed to be in. The bubble is supposed to be 9, 1, and 2, right?
The bubble is supposed to be 9, 1, and 2. So that would be you're saying
Or
like
9, 2, 1.
9 to 1. So
Depending on what the actual final size of the tournament ends up being, if it gets small enough of a tournament, there actually could be some 9-1-2s get in. Yeah.
yeah.
And because like even I think the math that we did was like it's 15 cumulative. It's like 10 2 is only supposed to be like 15 of the top 32.
Yes. So what we the part that we're leaving out is that like my teammate Harold got a buy in round 2. Obviously very happy for him, but it those buys are at the expense of the people who like these 10-2 peoples. Also, the people who are trying to get top 64, they're getting beat out by the people who got the buys. So the buy ends up being the most powerful thing you can get, and no one can control. Are we playing for these buys? No, they're being randomly assigned based off of when they do the pairings. If there's like a mess up, they're not gonna repair. They're just gonna assign those people buys. So Harold ended up being one of 5 people who was handed a buy in round 2. So these buys were occurring throughout the tournament, which continued to mess up the numbers and also make the players who didn't receive a buy punish them for not receiving a buy.
And how does it affect like tiebreakers? Like right, buys are like are they perfect
Buys
tiebreakers?
are supposed to be perfect opponents because they can't lose anymore.
But
Yeah.
buys end up being not ever negative, which ends up making them quite positive
Mhm.
because typically your round one opponent, if you beat them and then they go on to never win again because you just got paired into some lucky person or that was just there to have a DLC, whatever, and weren't trying to win. They're gonna bring you down, but if you get the round one bye, that person's never gonna lose again, and they don't bring you down as much as everyone else gets brought down. So them being like win neutral makes them really positive pairing. A round one bye is the best thing that can happen for your tiebreakers. It has been in trading card games forever.
Yeah.
Which I actually don't like. My thing that I've always said is I think that the first tiebreaker, instead of being opponent match win percentage, should be game win percentage. That way, a couple things happen. It matters if you 2-0 versus 2-1, which every new player intuitively thinks matters. Like, how many times has this happened? You're at a local game store, Someone's like, "Hey, yeah, I got it 2-1," and then they're like, "Oh, actually, it was 2-0," and I'm always like, "It actually just doesn't matter at all." You know what I mean? You won the match, and that's the end of it. But like, if that matters, suddenly there's a little more agency in your hands. And if you played somebody really bad in round one, well, theoretically you 2-0'd them, so that should be good for you as opposed to bad for you. It makes a new thing matter. I've always thought that should be the first tiebreaker. And Lorcana's like willing to try weird stuff, right? We did best of two, so like maybe next season let's try that. I think that might be a more satisfying outcome for tiebreakers. I've always thought that about trading card games.
Yes. I also agree, and I think that change should definitely happen. You should have more agency over your tiebreakers, and it should be related to the important stuff. On the bigger note, it's the players who didn't make top 64 because of this uh, suffered a great loss. I mean, like their tournament could have cost them who knows how much. I mean, Milwaukee's not an easy place to fly to.
I mean, so basically what we're talking about is last season, if you tied for top 64, you got the pass down promo. So whatever the
Yeah.
top 64 promo was, obviously I remember it. Don't quiz me because of course I know. Whatever it was, you would also pass down to everyone who got the same record as the person that was in 64th place. This season they are not. It represents maybe a tonal shift, maybe a lapse in judgment or whatever. But I think most players would agree that we liked that policy. It would seem to just be more promos, which is good, and they took it away, which we don't like.
So, like, why this regression, right?
Of course, I would love to know.
And so, I believe that the regression exists because of the tournament software, right? Like with Melee, we never had the issue of like needing to compensate for the tournament software working, right? Like, do we assign buys to fix it? That was never even a question. But here we're trying everything to make sure that the tournament runs 4 hours late instead of 6 hours late. And the sacrifice is the people who could have gotten top 64 based off of actually winning the right amount of matches, and also the top 32 cut as well, right? Because the person who's getting a buy is getting a much higher shot at getting into those spots rather than the people who actually won 10.
Absolutely. And so, basically to try to put a bow on this without going on for way too long about it, Continental's invite to everybody who bubbled out of top 32 and promos to everyone who bubbled out of top 64, I mean, seems like the right thing to do to me.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're not being fully transparent about what's going on and what the real reason is, right? Like people will come up to me and be like, "You shouldn't have lost early," but that's not the problem. All 10-2 should be guaranteed to make top 32 mathematically, even if it's a 2048 player capped tournament.
Also, you shouldn't have lost early is a little like, why would you say that to me? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
You can play anybody.
You just lose whenever. Like, right? It just happens.
I shouldn't have lost ever, actually. I think that if I had won all my rounds, I would have made top 8.
Yeah.
Like, if we're just going into what I should have done. I should have, instead of going 3-3, gone 12-0.
Yeah, I should have done better, right?
I should have done better as well.
The wild part about all of this is like I'm one of the fortunate people that has had success. But when I achieve a result, I still believe that result like needs like it happened and it might not ever happen again. Right? This was my chance at getting getting qualified for continentals. It might be someone other person's chance to be able to play another tournament ever again.
I mean, it's not a given that you're going to qualify for this next continentals. We all like think it's going to happen, but it's not a guarantee. This could have been when you did it.
Yes, and I mean, I also want to get back to Worlds. This was my chance to have a chance to get qualified for Worlds again. I'm not saying that I would have done it, but I would have liked to find out if it was
The
possible.
whole point of the entry fee of a tournament is you're buying a chance, and you should be able to cling to your chance like a precious necklace.
Yeah,
Or
and
something.
if this was the case, wouldn't you change that 10-2s were not gonna have a chance to make top 32, why would you let 10-2s into day 2? Why are you letting them into day 2 if like you're awarding buys and the buys are the ones that actually guarantee you to make top cut?
I think that's it. Let's put a bow on it.
Yep.
We know what we asked for. We think it's reasonable. Sound off in the comments. Should the pass down invite happen? Should be a unanimous yes, I think.
Yeah, everybody just say yes in the comments.
Let's talk about and then subscribe to our channel. How about that?
Yeah.
Let's talk about the next thing, and we got to kind of make it a little quick, unfortunately. But the next thing I want to talk about was, I think we all kind of want to say something about it. The fans
Were awesome.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What is even going on?
Like,
we were
incredible.
getting swarmed by a ton of people. They're all really cool, very nice. I liked them all a lot. I don't even like the word fans because I feel like the parasocial friends I have is
Community, yeah.
No.
They're club members.
I-
We don't know what we call them.
Yeah, I was just gonna say friends.
right.
Ooh,
'cause it
friends of
doesn't
the
feel like- fans
podcast.
for some reason makes them feel like friends of the podcast.
Friends of the podcast.
That's what it is.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
come up, they're like, "We love your podcast." They say, "Jeremy, you're so funny. Ryan, you're so good looking. Zan, you're so good at the game. I love you guys." And I'm always like, "Thanks, thanks so much." That is everybody.
What about Ozzy?
Yeah, I think the one, and I mean a couple standouts in particular, but I'm sure that the viewers have noticed. We have 4 Labubus here that got some special Labubu clothing. Right here, a young lady by name of Jess Villa came up to me with her husband, and she was like, "We love your podcast. We watch all the time. We have a clothing studio, and we have sewn for you hoodies for your Labubu with the Club Lorcana logo on the back."
Absolutely insane.
It,
I almost
like-
lost it when she
I
showed
was
us
almost crying when she was talking to me. I was like, "Oh my God."
I think I just gave her a giant hug.
But long story short, amazing turnout from the fans, from the friends of the podcast this weekend. This gift, I mean, so touching. But incredible stuff.
Yeah, it's hard to put into words. It's incredible. The
Also, might be a
reception.
little useful to now have a friend that is owning like a print shop for clothing. I might come up a little later.
Yeah,
I was
we-
asking some people some interesting questions about, would you buy a shirt that said this? Would you buy a shirt that said that? This, that, and the other. It doesn't have its ring. It's incapable. Yeah, it says Club Lorcana on the back. And she even made Zan's hot pink.
Just like he wanted.
Just like he wanted. Enjoy Serenity Labubu's hot pink hoodie. But yeah, I just want to say, I mean, obviously, huge
Why
thanks.
is mine hot pink?
Not actually
Personality,
hot.
man. You had to be the Bachelor, you know? It's like your
but
podcast.
Jeremy's has an additional detail.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
she said
yeah.
she made it the same color blue as my backpack strap. So it's got the blue strings that go with the blue straps on my backpack.
She nailed it.
It's incredible.
It's amazing, to be honest. So thanks so much, everybody that came up. I know that my weekend was made a lot better because even though I scrubbed the tournament, I just talked to people all weekend who were super big, proud of what we were doing. I always tell them, I'm like, hey, I try to make it good for you. We all try to do our best to make it good for you. So it really means a lot that it's working and that
Yeah.
it's good for you, if that makes sense.
I mean, Jeremy literally flew in and took an Uber directly to this, so we haven't really decompressed from the
Not
weekend.
even a little bit.
And yeah, we just felt like we wanted to bring you the most raw.
Yeah, I
real
wanted
thing.
to get, this was what happened this weekend. Anything else from the weekend?
There's the one cool story,
Yeah,
Aiden.
yeah.
Oh yeah, we
Can't
were all
leave that.
there in the crowd. 10-year-old Aiden battling for a golden Mickey versus world champion DKP.
Yeah.
And basically, long story short, Aiden wins. And if you weren't in that room, trust me, it was like we weren't watching a trading card game tournament. We were at a rock concert. People were going bananas. Sailor was crying.
There were
What?
a lot of
Liam was
a
crying.
lot of
A
people
lot of
crying.
people were crying. And the cheers were like going all over the
Yeah,
place.
I saw all the
It
cheers.
was-
I didn't see the people cry.
People
It's-
were
it's-
in tears. It was
it's
awesome.
incredible.
It
Kid's
kinda-
brother was crying. It was just like a
Yeah, yeah.
visceral moment.
Yeah.
It kind of represents the dream of the game, right?
Yeah.
Like, unlike other trading card games, Disney is uniquely poised to sort of bring everybody together. And, the young underdog beats the world champ and he's got his whole life ahead of him. And it just feels really good to see something like that happen. DKP got a picture with him, gave him a nice little fist bump, and it was just like a really awesome moment. I think very like Lorcana exclusive. You're not going to see that in Yu-Gi-Oh! In Yu-Gi-Oh! They would have just mugged that kid. They'd have been like, he just won a golden Mickey. Let's go beat him up before he gets to his car.
I met him the day before.
Nice.
I met him and his brother the day before. We took pictures. I signed their enchanted Diablos.
Oh,
Yeah, which was awesome. And then he told me he made day 2, and I was like,
congrats.
I was like, wait, how old are you?
I'm 10 years old.
Yeah,
And I'm better than everyone else.
I felt bad because I was like, hey, are you 2 twins? He's like, no, I'm 12 and a half years older than my brother. And I was like,
2.5. Yeah.
I mean, he's 12 and a half, and
Yeah.
Aiden is 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Dan, I think we got to wrap up the podcast.
All right.
All right, I'll go first. You can find me on Twitter. Please, give me a follow at MOXJEREMY, Mox Jeremy. I do a space every week. I'm actually probably doing the space in a couple of hours if you're watching this on the day that it's released, because it got postponed because I was doing travel planning. But yeah, just follow me on Twitter. The spaces are a lot of fun. I had a lot of people jump in and say they liked it. Ryan, where can they find you?
I'm on Twitter as well. ATL Ryan Walked. Love the weekend. Just don't call me Nathan.
Don't call me Nathan.
That
Nathan, where can they find you?
Same thing on Twitter, Nathan Tripp. Jeremy and I did a lot of like cookie run openings with a lot of content creators. So thank you to everybody for doing that.
What's the channel on YouTube?
It's the Braverse Bakery. So if you want to check that out, cookie run's got some fun stuff coming.
Yeah, it'll be in the description, and yeah, we still have to do a pack opening.
We still have to do a pack opening with you. That's the
Yeah.
last one. I have the pack.
Yeah.
And Zan, where can they find your stuff?
I mean, you're already here, and yeah, thank you guys for all the support, and it means the world to us, and I can't wait to see you guys for the next one.
Bye,
Peace.
everybody.